And we're live. It is Whiskey, Watches, and Wheels, the #1 podcast with Richard Simmons and Jenny Craig. I am the ever-shrinking Matthew Green. Fellas, introduce yourselves.
Kevin.
I'm James.
All right, guys. How we doing? Everyone having a good week so far?
Yeah,
so far.
So for those listening and watching, we are down a man. Casey is doing some work stuff, not here tonight, but it's just the three of us. We will chug along.
He says work.
I know he says work. Is he really working? You know, that's what you got to question. We have some topics, some things we're going to throw up against the wall and see what sticks. But I was thinking today on the way home, because I was stuck in traffic, dude. Orlando, fucking the Camping World Stadium. The 80s people come out in full force, man.
Be careful there.
I am. No, Katie's. I'm one of them. But tonight was.
No, don't speak badly about my clients.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But no, Orlando traffic just stops. Tonight was oh shit, it was like all 80s bands. Def Leppard and Journey and someone else. You know, so everything around downtown, it just stopped. So it took me over an hour
Tesla.
to get home. No, it was someone else.
I heard it on the radio too.
Yeah. So one of those, Monsters of Rock kind of thing. So anyway, but I'm sitting there in traffic at a dead stop. I started thinking, man, this is not where I want to be driving right now. So I thought, okay, I want to ask you guys something because you don't know I'm going to ask you this. What is your dream driving vacation? Like if you could pick somewhere where you're going to go and get a cool car and go on a drive, what is your dream drive? Where do you want to go, or what do you want to do?
You want to go first, or you want me to go first? Since you already go ahead, James.
Let's see here. What I would do is Nordschleife, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would also get to Spa because that is in the Ardennes Forest where Battle of the Bulge was, and my grandfather fought in Battle of the Bulge. So kind of two birds with one stone, a little bit of history, a little bit of driving. And I think that would be really fun.
Cool. Kev?
Well, I'm not that extravagant here. I was thinking this big money, James. I was thinking in the United States. So
that wasn't part of the question. He didn't say.
Is it dream drive?
I see.
Dream, yeah.
Well, mine would be Mars. I've always actually wanted to do Route 66. I know a lot of it's closing, and more is closing. So I would like to do the whole Route 66. I'm just, I would love to do, the Italian Alps too, but I doubt I'm going to be able to do that. I could, but
as far as Route 66 goes, you would think at this point you may be disappointed, right? Like you'd just be driving and so much of it is, like you said, it's just been plowed over.
There's still a big ball of yarn and a large frying pan. There's shit to see.
Yeah, and well, to be honest, and that's some of the things that I would actually want to go see is some of the old architectural, and I know a lot of the gas stations and diners they're gone, but I also know some there's towns that are completely gone that you could probably just walk through. At least I've seen on Instagram and stuff like that, and those roads that you can't even go on anymore because it's so barren. Mm-hmm. Not maintained.
They're just not used anymore. I would do the same thing if I had a camera with me. I had a film camera.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
And
you always have a camera.
Took my time. Right. And set it up, researched it, hit those places that are still existing that have some nostalgia to them. But I did a few years ago, I was in Tulsa where that's the beginning. Right, the beginning of 66.
I don't know where it starts. I
know it starts there.
Doesn't it start in Chicago? So it goes what? Oklahoma up?
Yeah, I don't know. It goes into Tulsa. I know that. So
okay,
but it was pretty interesting as far as in downtown Tulsa they had kind of the original gas station there and all that starting point and such. But who knew, right? You literally walk right by it unless you saw the sign.
No clue, yeah.
Right? So that's just progress, I suppose.
It'd be cool.
Yes.
So
How about
I was
you, Matt?
thinking, well, so I've always wanted to drive kind of like Kevin, the Alps, but Europe is so fucked up, dude. There's so many speed cameras and everything. You really can't have fun on those roads, you know? I'm sure there are some you can, but so for me, what's something I've always wanted to do, never had the opportunity. I will do it before I die, hopefully. I want to fly in to Seattle, rent a cool car, can be like a, Miata or whatever, it's a convertible, whatever, and literally take the coast from
LeBaron
Seattle.
convertible?
What's LeBaron? There you go. Yep. 94 LeBaron, teal green. Take it down.
Bought a new car.
Yeah. Take it down from Seattle, go through, Oregon, go through the redwoods, roll into Cali, go through wine country, all of that, and just fish it all the way down. And maybe stop in like San Diego and then just fly back home. Take like 2 weeks and really do it.
It does actually start in Chicago, and it ends, well, depending on where you're coming from, ends in LA. So it goes Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and then California.
Now, there you go. So what you do is you take Route 66 from Chicago, you take that bitch all the way out to LA.
Yeah.
Then you tee on to PCH, and you take that all the way up the coast and end in Seattle, and then fly home from Seattle.
Yeah. So
that'd be a cool
yes,
road
I
trip.
would love to. Definitely like the Italian Alps. That would be pretty cool, and all those roads and stuff like that. And I would love to do that hotel that everyone takes a picture of. And I think is it Switzerland maybe?
Yep.
It's the one that's like right in the middle. That would be pretty neat. But.
So as far as Route 66 in Tulsa goes, there's the Blue Dome. That's what I was referencing, right? It's a former gas station, was a luxury pit stop 1924 when it opened on 2nd Street. So I believe it was one of the first pump stations, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, in Tulsa, they also have the Golden Driller. So that's part of Route 66 as well.
So that was back in the late 90s. That was my porn name, was the Golden Driller.
Yeah, that was short-lived.
Yeah, it only lasted one scene. That was it,
or two strokes.
Yeah, it was like 4 seconds. That was it, done. One and done, literally. So this is what you're gonna hear tonight, guys. Hope you're enjoying it. But yeah, so that while I was sitting in traffic, I was thinking about a dream drive and not sitting in traffic. So, but while we're talking about driving, James, you mentioned this in our group text or whatever. The 911T hybrid reviews are out. The embargo's off. Everyone's got a video up on YouTube, and I watched several of them today. Yeah, over in Spain, and it's getting good reviews. I mean, people say that, if you didn't know you were driving a hybrid, you wouldn't know you were driving a hybrid. It's getting good reviews.
The hybrid part of it's kind of interesting as far as where they have the motors, right? So they have a motor in the right in the turbo, right. So it spools up quicker, which is really interesting. Yeah,
well, they're saying it's 0.6 seconds faster than the outgoing model, and all of that is in like the
100
first
pounds heavier.
Yeah, it's all of it's in the first 100 feet. 100 yards, I mean, it's all because your torque is instant. I mean, it's literally instant. The only downside to it is, I mean, God, I love Porsche, but they are proud of their product. The price keeps going up and up and up and up. Thing starts at like 160, and by the time you put some options on, it's at 200.
We all know you cannot buy a Porsche for list price. Period.
No, of course not. No, so this is going to be a $200,000 911. It's $200,000, and you want to believe that it's going to be a great product for forever, but it's brand new technology. So, there's questionable long-term reliability when you have to deal with something like that.
I think Matt Farah said it best in his review where he said it's something for the third owner to be worrying about.
True.
Right? Yeah. Because the first owner, that's just going to be the business owner that needs to spend some money at the end of the year and it's going to go drop $200K on it. Right? Got to burn some money. Second owner may be an enthusiast, but that third owner is when I can finally afford it for $125.
Well, that's me, and that's why I'm concerned, because I mean, I'm not rolling pennies for gas, but I'm not going out and spending $200K on a new 911 either.
Career's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Working for the man.
I know it, man. But listen, that $18 I made, it was sweet money. It was great. So, yeah, I'm that third owner. I'm that third buyer. I bought, the 911 I have right now. It's an 07 997 base Carrera. Sticker price on it was $101,000. So someone paid $101 for it, and I bought it for $38,000. I'm that third owner. So.
And then also too, I was talking to Aaron at PCAR Talk. He told me that no more Cayman and Boxsters. They're doing away with those. We thought at one point it was just going to be the European market, but altogether they're going to. Which I'm wondering,
altogether or as an ICE motor?
No,
as an ICE motor.
No, he said altogether. No more Porsche. No more Cayman. No more.
Get him on the horn. Call him up right now.
Listen, I believe Aaron, but I thought it was 2025 was the last year of the of the Cayman and Boxster with an ICE engine. It's going to be electric only. But I could be wrong.
So you're right. It does say Porsche is phasing out its gas-powered Boxsters.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there'll still be one of those be electric
next
only.
Year.
Yep. Not even a hybrid, just straight electric.
So what do you guys feel of that? With everybody? I agree, especially with all of those.
I think it's too soon.
It says it's going to be replaced by EV. When all the problems that they had with their Taycan, I'm seeing Taycans go for like $38,000 now.
Yeah,
they can't even sell some of the used ones at the Porsche dealers. It's so bad that some of the guys are saying that they have to sell this was like 8 months ago. For them to get some of their bonuses or their extra spiffs or whatever you want to call it, they had to sell at least one or two Taycans just to get to that next level. Because I felt it was kind of bullshit that they're putting that kind of pressure on a salesperson of a car that maybe somebody doesn't want. But they were reducing them so much, and now that I've seen them, $38,000 for
Well, listen, the 2020 models, the first year, we know it had issues. So you can pretty much roll into a dealership right now and buy one of those for like 2 Slim Jims and a pack of Skittles. They're literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a crapshoot. You don't know if it's going to last or not.
Do you guys think they're all, and I don't think this is going to happen, but I talked to him about it. What about the GT4? Like, that was such a popular car.
Right.
That's going to be gone too.
Yep.
So
we'll see.
How long do you think it's going to be that I don't know.
Look, every manufacturer has backtracked already.
They have.
So I don't believe it until literally it's a done deal.
This is the 718 all over again. All right. They got rid of the 6. They brought in a 4-banger. All right. And everyone bitched about the 4-cylinder. It was on the market for a couple years. And then guess what? Oh, the 6-cylinder's back. Porsche is notorious for this. So they're going to roll out a new Boxster and Cayman. And if it sells well, then you may not see the ICE engine again. If it does not sell well,
they're throwing it against the wall.
If it does not sell well, all of a sudden there's going to be the next generation .2, and guess what? Now you can get it in a hybrid. Will it be straight ICE? No. But if this 911 works out and this technology is what we hope it's going to be, the Boxster and the Cayman will be back with a hybrid.
Yeah, but okay. So the question to both of you is it still a Porsche if it's all electrified and it just goes as fast as a Tesla? Who gives a shit?
No. I think they're getting away from their heritage, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
They're getting away from now granted, I know a 356 was a 4-cylinder, but it was still a horizontal motor. And it's always been that way. And now that whole engine platform is just completely gone. And now, what do you go to? Just the style, the body style?
Just style. That's it.
I mean, let's face it. Well, the Cayman and the Boxster didn't even look like an original Porsche to begin with. So that was, and the SUVs, those cars weren't.
They tried like hell.
They did.
Get everything,
especially the first
design language to look like a 911 across the board.
Well, the first Boxster looked just like the 996. We know how well that went over. It literally looked exact. Yeah. So
But I mean, they're making, the SUVs is what's floating the company.
Yeah.
I bought some of their stock recently, and I was telling my friend about this. That when I bought the stock, I had to buy it over the counter because they have to convert it over to francs and get it on the Frankfurt exchange. But the amount of stock that I had purchased more than 10% of the daily trade. And the reason why I purchased it is because it was less than the opening or the, what's it called? IPO price, which I think was $69. And now it's hovering around mid 40s. So I said, well, hey, remember, they're also the second most profitable car manufacturer next to Ferrari, which Ferrari is like leaps and bounds. They're making, I think, $122,000, and we talked about this per car, and they're making a lot less cars as well. So I just,
as far as a mainstream car producer, I think Porsche is number one in that regard. Right?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
I think you'd have to say Porsche is a mainstream, Ferrari is not. Porsche may make some fantastic cars, but
that's why all the supercar guys, when you go to these, exotic car events and supercar guys and everything, listen, they respect the Porsche and the 911, but they're like, oh, that's not a supercar. It's like, okay, whatever.
And I would agree. I don't think it's a supercar neither. I don't
Depends
think
on the model. I think
maybe a GT3 RS.
Your car, your GT3 is a supercar. That Manthey edition.
What makes a supercar?
Well, one,
performance.
Well, then a fucking Tesla is a supercar.
Sure is.
Tesla's top speed is limited, though. I mean, it's zero. We're not talking 0 to 60. We're talking top speed. All right, so your top speed in that car, you're over 200 miles an hour in that car.
Isn't top speed 200?
On the GT3 Manthey, I guarantee it is. It's got to be.
Because that's what I remember.
My base Carrera from 07 is 182.
Yeah, but just because it says it on the Speedo and stuff like that, and the real getting, but that's when I remember, like, yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's what I remember. Supercar was if it hit 200 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. Yep. So the Lamborghini Countach, Diablo, Vector, those cars were supercars. And even a Ferrari wasn't I know which one you're talking about, the cool looking one. That's what I would consider a supercar. I mean, I just saw this girl, she was like, oh, you want to get in a supercar? And what can I get in a supercar for under 30 or 40,000 or under $2,000 a month? And they pulled up in a Bentley, like old clapped out Bentley SUV. I'm like, I'm going straight to the comments because that's not even a fucking supercar. Like, and I would like to hear what everybody else thinks a supercar is, because it has changed now. I mean, hell, some Honda Civics go probably 160 miles per hour, whereas that was unattainable. It was just enough to do 120. So there's technically,
there's a supercar, and then there were too many supercars, so they had to come up with hypercar.
Exactly.
So now Hypercar is the $1 million car, blah, blah, blah.
If you got a Koenigsegg or a Pagani, they're not supercars. Those are hypercars.
Okay.
And typically a supercar was based on that top speed and acceleration.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is
nowadays.
Now.
I don't even look at
whatever
supercar.
It is.
I'm looking at a hypercar, because a supercar is really what all of us thought of when we were kids. That was now the hypercar.
Sure.
Like that was like unattainable.
Testarossa.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's nothing against, I love Ferraris, nothing against, McLarens or Lamborghinis or whatever, but to me, to go out, and it's not like, if you buy a GT3, you're spending the same amount of money you're going to spend on one of those others. But there's a level of practicality to it. Not that you're going to, the new GT3, no, because there's no, or the RS has no frunk. But I mean, for most of them, there's a level, if you want to take it to the grocery store, you would, but
supercar has a level of douchebaggery that is top shelf.
Listen, I was on Facebook today. I don't want to point fingers at, groups, but there was a group, it was one of these sponsored links, and it was like this national group that now has an Orlando chapter, and it was a supercar group, and it was like, come join our ranks and everything. And it had a group photo, and dude, it was just nothing but a sea of Instagram models and Guidos. I mean, that's really all that was in there. And I'm like, you couldn't give me $100 to hang out with you guys. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. Just by the photo.
And it's funny too, because I will put these, we do a lot of car shows and stuff like that, and it's always the Ferrari and the Lamborghini guys that are like, well, if I bring my car, what are you going to give me to some of these big shows? They have money because they have the car, but they're always the ones that are just, okay, I bring my car here, but what am I getting? Like, it's something special. And then again, I also think too, Porsche people, they drive their cars. You start driving a Ferrari, or I don't want to say Lamborghini, but like a high-end Lamborghini, not a base model Gallardo. They significantly start dropping prices when you start putting 10,000, 20,000.
Yeah.
And how many Ferraris do you really see out there?
Yeah. Does that also transfer over to Porsche as well, but just at a higher level? Is it 20K?
It's starting to
as
now.
Opposed to 10K for the Ferraris, but then 20K for the GT3s or GT cars.
Okay, so to your point there, look at a 1987. We'll use 87. You're not seeing a 1987.
I wasn't born then.
I know. I said 87, not 47. You don't see too many 1987 308s or even Countach. I think a Ferrari 308 you'll see with like 50,000 miles, but most of the time I'm seeing them at like 30,000, 40,000.
30.
Yeah, 30, right? So 1987, well, you guys know 1987 Porsche 911. They all have over 100,000 miles on them for the most part, and if they don't, they're at a super high price. They're blue chip
it's
cars.
a great point. And the thing is if you buy that Ferrari at 30,000 miles, you got to throw a shit ton of money at it in order to get it back up and performing the way it should be.
So and the same thing with like a McLaren, 10,000 miles. It seems like and I did look at a McLaren, I think, not the MP4, but the one after, like a 6-something or 720, I think it was.
670 or 720.
Something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But every McLaren owner that I know, and there's one that I know pretty good, he just flips to the new models. And it seems like that's what they all do. They put 5,000 miles on them.
Because of depreciation as well.
Right. 100%. And what they do, and I've even talked to him, he said, hey, I have this car, it's paid for. So I'll drive a McLaren for a year, and it will cost me $40,000 in depreciation if I don't drive it a lot. And then I'll take that and I'll put another, $10,000 in, so $50,000, and drive another one, the newer model. But
he's kicking the can.
He is, and he can't put a lot of miles on it. And that's what I see if you live in Miami, you live in LA, you live in any big city. They drive it for the parking garage.
I don't know about every big city. You just named LA and Miami, which are kind of like nouveau riche hubs.
So when I say East big
Coast,
city,
West Coast,
right? But when I say big city, I'm meaning like they're driving
Chicago,
a car from the parking.
Seattle. No,
you're right. But what I mean by that is they're driving a car from the parking garage to out to eat 2 miles, 3 miles. Back to the parking garage, driving that strip.
Coffee.
You're right.
Driving that strip. And I see that, my friend, really good friend of mine, he works at the Porsche Towers. And he said there's tons and tons of cars in there. I mean, multi-million-dollar cars.
Sitting in living rooms?
Sitting in living rooms. But that's what they do. I mean, Bugattis, you name it. They put it in the elevator from their house, drive it down. They go out to a steakhouse over in Coconut Grove, and they drive it right back, and they put 10 miles on the car.
Well, and there's something out there, and I'm not at that price or income bracket, but there's something that I've heard about where there's financial institutions that you go through, and you take a car like that, and they end up financing the difference. Like they know that a year from now, when they turn it in or whatever, it's going to be worth X amount of dollars. So they're able somehow to finance the differential. So if it's a $200,000 car or 250, and a year from now it's still going to be worth 230 or 240, there's some way they're able to they mess with the numbers to where they end up having with a much lower payment than you would normally do if you went out and bought a $250,000 car.
I don't know.
Like on a
like
lease.
I've heard
That's
about
like
it.
a
Isn't
lease,
that called
maybe.
a lease?
Well, no, it's not a lease.
No,
though.
because at least you're paying on the. Well, and that McLaren
Ed
that I
Bolian,
looked
I've heard
at-
it on his YouTube channel, and I've never went into the specifics, but there's something out there that you can do that.
But even on that McLaren that I looked at, I don't remember my payments, but we'll say it's going to be whatever it was going to be. After 36 years, I was going to be leasing that car.
36 months.
I'm sorry, 36 months.
Yeah.
For over $150,000. I think it was 24 months. And I had to put down, say, $25,000. I was walking away from that car and paying $100 and something thousand in lease payments and not owning it anymore. Right. So, leasing's not what it used to be because the residual values. It's not. It's not. And that's why
it was a good move to walk away.
Right. Yeah, well, that's true. That's
and now you've invested in your Porsches and you will get your returns. Not that we buy them for the investment value, but you have to drive them. And, it's like, I don't see all these Ferrari Facebook groups and stuff ripping up in the mountains in their Ferraris. It's not happening.
No. I mean, they'll do a bubble.
But you know what I will see is I'll see a group of 964 RSs ripping up in the mountains together. So you're talking about a $250,000 car that you're pushing the limit here on these roads. That's the group I want to hang with.
Yep.
And we buy our cars too, because like when I bought in 18, I bought the GT3, I paid $124 for it. When I sold that car,
such a great price, man.
Yeah. When I sold, and I had 10,000 miles on it.
You can get it right now for that.
Yeah.
Because those motors are blowing up. So people are a little leery of those 991s.
They're not blowing up anymore. All those have been gone. They're all been sorted out.
Still has a stigma though.
Look at the prices. And that's wise, because that 10-year, you got a warranty for 10 years. But
you can get a 991.1 is in the same range as a 997.
It may be so it may be one of the instances where if you get a 991 GT3 and it's got 5,000 miles on it and it's the original motor, you're better off getting something with 15 or 20,000 miles on it, because that it's broken in and it's not going to break
100%. That's absolutely. And so I think I ended up, my car had 30,000, so I put 20,000 miles on it. But hey, I sold the car for $115,000. So I drove that car for 10 grand over say 18 last year. So
that's fantastic.
They do. That's
name another car. Exactly. Name another car that you can drive almost for free. Sometimes you can drive for free.
I can name one. That's it. A Lotus Elise. You buy a Lotus Elise today.
Right there.
I'm saying you buy a Lotus Elise today for 30 grand, and you can put 15, 20, 30, 50,000 miles on it, and 10 years from now it's going to be worth 30 grand.
I would agree with you as well. Yes, that's probably the only
one that I know of that you can drive it for free.
As Toyota for an oil change.
Yeah. Even a salvage title Lotus Elise, you spend 27 on it and you sell it 10 years from now for 27. I mean, it's.
But if it had a Lotus motor in it, it wouldn't be like that. But because it has the Toyota TTI motor in there, or TGV or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So I don't know how we got to this conversation from our favorite drives, but
this is what I love about this podcast, man. We just ramble. These are my favorite episodes. So while we're talking about all of this, and we're really talking about car values and, everything involved in that, another thing we were talking about in our group chat was where'd the affordable car go? I mean, we were talking about, why car values are so expensive, and there's no inexpensive cars out there anymore. I did a Google search today, and literally the average price for a car, just a basic car in 2024, is $47,433. That's the average price for a brand new 2024 car is $47,000. And
which goes into the segue I'm sure you're going to bring up.
Oh yeah, well, and so it's inflation's ridiculous. Everything's through the roof. Everything's going in price. But I mean, $25,000 is low for a car today, to get something. But where's the $30,000 car or $35,000 car?
Well, the bar traditionally has been $20K for like the last 15 years.
Correct.
$20K bar, right? Before that, it was 15, right? But the $20K bar has been there for a long time, and that has kind of disappeared. Right?
So who's thumbing you up on the side of your head, man? I saw this bubble pop up.
Boom.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So now we talked about this. Everyone, like Toyota's doing away with the Yaris. Not Chevy's doing away with the Volt. Not that anybody really bought
Honda
that car.
Fit.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of these small cars are going away. So all those inexpensive cars. I mean, do they still even make the Toyota Prius?
They do make the Prius.
Yes.
And actually, I have to admit, for hybrid, it's a very nice looking vehicle now. But again, and I didn't check the price, but a Prius is probably going to run you. It's probably $45,000. I mean, they're not cheap.
38, 48. Okay.
Yeah. So traditionally, that 20K car, that was for your first time buyer, just like a first time home buyer, right?
Correct.
So it's the person out of school, their first job. They need reliable transportation, and they need to establish credit. So they go and they buy their $20,000 car. Maybe mom or dad co-signs.
Yep.
Right.
Like you're talking like what kind of cars? I know in 1996.
Honda Accord.
Oh yes, you're right. Honda Accord. Yeah.
Toyota Camry.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Honda Civic.
Honda Civics, those were under 20. And at least in 96, they were under 20.
Yeah.
You got a Saturn SC2. That's what you got.
Saturn. No, there was no Saturns that were.
You got the
under 20.
Fiero.
Not under 20. I think Stacey's was 22. I think.
Yeah,
her
I
car was
remember
22.
when back then that car, and they would not budge. They had that whole no, we don't haggle. This is the price of the car, and they tried to do that. And I remember it was $22,000, and I think my wife went to at the time she went looking at him. Says she went out and bought a Toyota Tacoma, 2-door truck for I think $14,000 because they wouldn't budge.
I had that on my Lexus IS 300 the first year they came out. They would not budge at all. I looked across the country, and nobody would budge. 32.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And this is 2000, 2001, something like that.
You bring up a very, very valid point. So you can actually get, not that you want it, but you can get a basic XLT version of the Ford Maverick, 2024 Ford Maverick XLT for $27,910, brand new. Mm-hmm. It's got steely wheels and it's white and it's but it is a brand new vehicle for $27,000.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is the under $20,000 car typically has been 20% of the market, right? A fifth of the market for forever. And then in 2020, it started going down, right? So why? Why is it going down? Is it inflation? Is it technology? Is it?
As Casey say, corporate greed.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with the corporate greed part of it as far as the 2024 messaging goes.
Yeah.
But there are other factors such as, number one is most likely SUVs. Right? Mm-hmm. There's more demand for SUVs because people find more value in SUVs based on the size of them. They are not a Versa size, right? So if I can get a Versa for $22,000 or whatever, and I can get a Ford SUV for $27,000, maybe I bump it up and I feel like I'm getting more car, right? Mm-hmm. So the 20% and now I believe is more in the 9%. Based on SUVs going up and these compact mid-size cars going down, right? So part of that factor has to be the SUV. We've now become an SUV nation.
I would agree with you 100% because back when we were talking about the cars, there was really a Ford Explorer and then the Ford Navigator. And then there was minivans. Yeah. But when it came to SUVs, there was really those two main ones. I mean, I know we had the Jimmy.
And they didn't have the name. They didn't have the name.
Well, you had like a Jeep Cherokee or whatever, And then I remember when the Dodge Durango first came out. That was big news, man, because Ford was scared because now Dodge had something to compete against the Explorer.
Right.
Yeah, I saw this graphic. I saw this graphic. SUV sales went from 30% in 2009 to 52% in 2019. In
Wow.
10 years.
Well, so we talked about this in our group chat, and not to go into a ton of details, but where I work as a manager, we have part of our comp packages. We have a company lease, and I've for the last
to drive an empty bed
10 years, or the last 10 years, I've driven a Dodge Ram, and it came out the other day that they're pulling the Dodge Rams not only from reorders of our package, but they're actually going to pull it. They're gonna close out the existing leases early, and
I support that fully.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it because, as I said, like we said this before, I drive a Dodge Ram because it was offered to me, not because I need a truck.
Right.
And so now we'll have our choice between like a Grand Cherokee or a Durango or a minivan. It'll be SUVs.
So do you have to move product around from location to location? Why couldn't they just give you a car? Like, what's the purpose of giving you and I was even talking to my wife about this. For her, she had an Altima, and I said,
were all the fenders on it?
Yeah, it was. But I said, okay, why as a company, if I own the company, I would say, hey, I want all, I don't know, Chevy Sparks or something cheap, because it's just transportation,
right? Hey, as far as a group buy, you're buying almost a fleet vehicle essentially for this company, Matt's company. So there's got to be decent discounts.
Well, that's the thing.
But that's what I was asking for Matt.
Pickup trucks.
Yeah. What's the purpose of your vehicle? Because it's not like you're throwing slabs of solid surfaces in the back of a.
The bed is always.
And for most managers, is it more of just of a perk for you guys because you're not transferring product? Like, I know you particularly, you have to go to another location, another store now, but most managers don't. So I'm assuming as companies kick back and stuff like that, could it be, I think, and I am seeing that the whole company car thing is going away as well.
Yeah.
Matt has to haul his desk to each location. So that's why he needs a pickup truck.
All the furniture.
Every morning he's got to load his truck up with his desk.
Pack it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple things. One, a lot of the managers, even though we still do a ton of sales calls, we're still on the road, we're still going and we meet with clients and customers. And depending on the territory, my location, I cover 2/3 of the state of Florida. So we're still on the road, going to meet, lunches and meet with customers and presentations and things of that nature. But we don't need a truck for that. And then I think it's something to do with, we go through a big national fleet company that does fleets, or maintains fleets for lots of corporations. Mm-hmm. And I don't get in the weeds of it, but there's something I can guarantee you.
I'm sure that has to do with pricing. Yeah.
Well, pricing and tax breaks. I mean, I'm sure, before we had this, we had a program where, we were just given a set amount of money each month and we go get and that for our car or whatever. And I'm sure that there's tax incentives involved with why they do it the way they do it now. That's the only thing I can think of. So, and I'm sure that maybe why they're pulling the trucks, maybe they're getting some sort of tax break or whatever by pulling large vehicles off the road and replacing them with more fuel efficient or who knows.
So next up, after the SUV, you have to think about the, as Casey would say, corporate greed, right? So you can produce a lot of cars with a limited margin, or you can produce fewer expensive cars with a bigger margin. So that's essentially what's going on, right? If you look at the Fiesta, right? The Fiesta shares a platform with the EcoSport SUV, which is kind of crazy, right?
That is crazy.
But it does. But the SUV is an average of 4,500% higher premium. $4,500 premium over that Fiesta. So if I'm Ford, do you think I want to sell Fiestas or EcoSport SUVs?
And it's funny because you know who started all that was Chrysler. They did it with the PT Cruisers, the 300s. They shared all that body frame.
The neon. Yep.
Well, I believe it went all the way back to the Chrysler K car. That was the key, was a similar platform across all of their vehicles.
And that's what pulled them out of bankruptcy ultimately.
Absolutely. And then if you think about it, your Macan is the same as your Q5, right?
Mm-hmm.
and your
Atlas.
what's
I
the
think it's the
VW
Atlas.
Tiguan? I think it's
Or Tiguan.
Tiguan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So, I mean, that's just every manufacturer does that now. So,
Mhm.
but so you got the SUV, then you have the higher margins, and then probably the next thing would wind up being technology.
Yeah.
Right. So not only is there safety technology, but there's the goodies. Right. Everybody wants their
screens,
Apple
man. Screen
CarPlay.
time.
They want their screen. They want their cameras. They want their infotainment, voice control, heated and cooled seats. All of that costs money. Right.
True.
And I was watching a video where they were pointing to younger generation, millennials, et cetera, where, they're used to having everything on their phone. Why can't I have it in my car? So they would rather wait to get that or buy a used car with all of that stuff. So I think the used car market is also taking a chunk out of that. If you think about the used car market, right? So typically an average of 17.5 million cars are sold new a year, but the used side is 40 million used. So on top of that, you have more reliable cars. Cars are built better. We know that. When we were kids, the stuff that we were driving around in with no seatbelts,
No joke.
yeah, they were terrible cars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you got 10 years out of your car in the 70s, you were giddy, right? Now you expect, well, not only are you paying for it for 10 years, right? With the cost of these cars, right?
No
that
joke,
they keep extending out. I think like
for 127 months.
Yeah, 60% of all loans are over 72 months. That's a lot, just based on the cost of these cars. But
wow,
and
I know they stretch them out
driving,
too.
People are driving them into the ground.
I think.
Yeah, they do 10 years now.
Just think about that in the 70s. If you went and you got a subcompact because of the gas crisis and you got a warranty, right? Now they're handing out 10-year warranties left and right, which says a lot about the quality of the cars.
True.
So there are a number of factors. It's just not corporate greed.
But going to your account, going on corporate greed. So in the news today, I noticed there was a big thing about Akito Toyota. So the Toyota earnings came in for 2023, and his comp package was released. And so for 2023, he was paid $10.2 million, which was 62% higher than last year. And it was all in the news and everything. So I started thinking,
low.
well,
that's low. I would agree.
Exactly. So I started thinking, I said,
Ford, 26.5 mil.
I have them here. So I went through and I said, well, you know what? What does everybody else make? And so you're right. So here it is. Stellantis, Carlos Tavares with Stellantis made $39.5 million. Mary Barra from GM made $27.8. Jim Farley, we just said. But then there were some that I was really surprised, like Honda, Toshihiro Mibe, I guess Mibe, only $2.4 million. Kia, Song Ho Sung, $4 million. Nissan.
Yeah, Ferrari on there?
I do. Mikado Ushida, $4.6 million. BMW, Oliver Zipse, $5.6 million. So Ferrari, Benedetto Vigna, $7.3 million.
So the GM and the Ford, they're just raking the owners over the coals.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and they stop, right? And they stop some of these, some of the production, like the Bolt, right? Yep. And then they lay off thousands of workers.
Stellantis. Stellantis is, that encompasses a lot. That's Fiat, that's Alfa Romeo, that's Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep. There's a lot of, but yeah.
But here's the deal. That's, we're saying all this, but I'm going to give you guys some other tidbit. Do you guys realize that the big Detroit manufacturers, they just did a report on the cars that are made
in America?
Which means transmission, engine, parts. Tesla holds the first 4 made in America with the most parts. Then it's a Honda Ridgeline.
Well,
then it's another Honda. Then it's
You can't go to the top 10. Not a single American manufacturer is in the top 10 of American manufactured cars.
Kevin, I'm so glad you said that. Our segues are amazing tonight. So here's the thing. The last two that really surprised me. Well, one didn't surprise me. I was just shocked. Number one regular car manufacturer, all right? Volvo. Okay? Jim Rowan with Volvo. $37 million for 2023. Volvo. I wouldn't expect that. But then Tesla, Elon Musk, $55.8 billion with a B for 2023.
I don't know if you can compare that.
Well, again, this is not SpaceX money.
He's not getting total comp. No, that's not for 1 year.
Check for that.
Well, according to allotfinancial.com, this was his Tesla earnings for 2023.
Stock earnings.
Yeah,
not his compensation package.
Well, stock is for comp.
That's not fair though, because
I know.
I mean, the guy's only worth what, $200 million. So, well, $200 billion, but $200 billion. So what he made last year, a quarter of his net worth. It's.
I know.
I think they're just picking on him personally because
I agree, but now I will tell you, I believe that all of these numbers from a lot financial, these were total comp packages. So these are including any stock options or whatever else. I mean, so the 37 million for Volvo, the 10 million for Toyota. I mean, those were total comp, including stock options, everything. Total.
And
comp
the other
package.
thing too, I will say this though, with Elon Musk, he started that company.
Don't get me wrong. I'm okay with him making the money. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but I just thought, like you said, 4 of the cars, 100% made in the United States was Teslas. I mean,
and if you really look back at it, Henry Ford was one of the wealthiest Americans back then. So if you really look at, Elon Musk and then Henry Ford, I mean, he was top one of the
1.2 billion.
Yeah, but he back then though, he was probably the top 5 wealthiest persons in the world.
Right.
It's funny too because when you look at billionaires, there's actually more Chinese billionaires than there is anywhere else.
Correct.
Which I find that strange.
Yeah, but it can be taken away pretty quickly over there.
Right, and I find that strange because it's a communist country. So
yeah, well, just like in Russia, Russian oligarchs, they're billionaires. It's like, today you're a billionaire, tomorrow you're dead.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You disappear, and that happens in China as well.
Yes. So before we go, because I know we're on 47 minutes.
No, but you got a new watch, man. We want to go over
I do have a new watch. I don't want to go over it because I have a headache, and I've had a headache for a while. So I'm going to do an unboxing. We haven't done an unboxing in a long never.
We haven't known in a while. No.
So let me turn my monitor here. Let me go to my little camera here. Let me zoom out of this here.
A mega Swatch? What?
Yes. See if I can.
You missed that. You missed that moon landing. That was like.
Hey, is that one of them piece of shit Swatch watches?
It is. Let me move my mic over here. All right.
Poor he's a convert, right?
Poor Darren. Darren's so excited about his watch.
3 weeks ago, he's busting on every Omega. I mean, every Swatch made.
Let me know when you're ready to sell it.
It's an unboxing. I was going to tell you guys, I will not be keeping this. So, Matt, if you want it,
I got dibs on it. Let me know when you're ready to sell it.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to sell it as soon as I do this unboxing. So, I had a fight for this shit at the Swatch place. So this is the box that comes in. I will tell you what's the other watch that I bought? That's the Swatch, starts with the B, the C's.
Oh,
Phantoms.
50
Fathoms?
Yes.
50 Fathoms?
Yes. That box is a nice box. This thing, I mean, it's...
Hey, by the way, that box is different than the original Omega boxes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, I know. I have one. What? I don't know. It's not, because this is the outer, so we're going to see it comes... For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, it's just a white, cheap box that I have not opened this.
They
very
must
reminiscent of a
the
Timex
packaging.
box.
I got it.
So it's a $24 watch is what you're saying.
Yeah,
no,
Timex
because
watch.
This is what you're used to seeing, aren't you, James? This is...
Let me see. Yes.
This is
Nice.
originally the box that they came in, which is the black box, and it said mission to the moon phase. This is what we got all of our Omegos one. but I actually have the white box that it comes in as well. So
Sweet.
black
Oh,
box.
is that a little hint? Is that a little hint of what's in there?
Yeah. So here is I
White
got
box.
this. No, it's not a hint. So you have Snoopy on it, on the back of it, sitting on the moon. A little bit of history. Looks like same kind of shitty box, in my opinion. It's just there's some cool things on here. It says 1965 Omega Speedmasters declare flight qualified for the all-manned space
My birth year
missions.
Mm-hmm.
1969 Apollo lunar modules nicknamed Snoopy. 1970 Omega receives the Silver Snoopy Award. 2024 Snoopy joins the mission to the moon phase. So there's some little facts that they put on the box for you. And then that's pretty much it. So we're going to open this up, see what this looks like.
Is that the Temu box?
The TV box.
No, it's not. Okay, so we flip it open. Now this looks to me like it's Chinese fortune cookie here.
Oh yeah.
Or-
Yes.
So it comes in, has the little opening or the pamphlet. So I paid for this. Let's see what I paid for this thing here. $333.25. And literally you had to fight people for it. So not literally, but so I got the black one. And the one thing
Good
that I
match with
don't
my Speedmaster.
Yep, I know. I was thinking of you, man.
I think
So-
you appreciate
I
that.
thought it was supposed to be white.
No, they come in two
They come in two
two
colors.
styles.
Make a white
and
and a
the
black.
white one nobody wants because it's white. So, zoom in on here.
Come on, James. Don't you know you always bet on black?
So this is the only difference, and I have not read the manual because, like I said, I didn't even open this. The lady put the receipt in there. Has a little moon phase on the 2 o'clock position.
Mhm.
So I don't know how that works. See if I can
With
zoom
Snoopy.
in.
With
With
Snoopy. yeah.
Snoopy on it. Yep. Let's see here. Let me see if it focuses.
Focus.
There you go.
There you go.
Let me see if I can turn it so that you can actually see the Snoopy. It's not, excuse me, it's not a good moon phase. It's very, see if I can zoom in on this. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's too small to, in my opinion.
It's a novelty.
It is. Like, I mean, let's see if it zooms in.
Go out a little bit. You're blurry, buddy.
Okay.
There you go. It's focused in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can see the Snoopy. It's nothing.
Yeah, but isn't it clear on the white face?
no, it's
I
the
think
same.
it was more obvious.
Oh, okay.
So, well,
So,
that's cool.
It has the little Snoopy on the back, and it says "Mission to the Moon" with the little white moon on it with this little paw print on the moon. So when I remember Swatch watches, I remember taking these surfing, taking them all over the place. This watch is water resistant. It's not waterproof.
Yeah.
So I remember just using this watch like it was, I mean, I did so much stuff with a Swatch watch, and I don't think it's, and it even says, so Swiss made what? Quartz? Because that's what it is. It's quartz.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Swiss made, water resistant, design patented, 4 joules. So maybe it's not. And-
Well, no, I think even quartz watches have moving parts. They're
joules.
just using
yeah.
a battery instead of a
For
rotor
movement.
to for power. So
Dream big, fly higher, explore the universe, reach for the planets, enjoy this mission. That's what it says on the inside of this.
Yeah.
Cooler watch, the band. James, you
The
use
first thing you
bands?
do,
rid of
you
this
do
band.
is rip that thing off and put a rubber strap on.
Yes, because this band is very uncomfortable.
Nasty.
The
Yeah.
end of it, where the Velcro, where the hook
Scratch.
part is, it's yes, it drives you
It's
nuts.
cheap.
It
Really,
is.
if you think about it, they may have $8 in producing that thing.
right.
And then they probably have more in the box production
Probably.
because it's so complicated than they do in the actual watch.
Well, you want to
Yes.
take the band off to preserve it, so that when you resell it for the big value, it's going to
For the $8.
the $8.
So you could definitely tell the people that were looking for this watch, they were looking for them just to flip the watch. That when I was
But
in
it
the
hasn't
store,
flipping, hasn't that? Yeah.
Yeah. That's now you can get the blue
There's something
one.
else.
You could get the blue one now that you could only get in London. You can get it now in the stores. And you had to go to London. That's why that one was like $700 to $800.
Well, they never said they were limited. It was just that they were limited to the
To that
actual
location.
retail locations.
Dude, it was
Right.
like it was the Cabbage Patch dolls
Just-
for the time.
It was,
you know,
yeah, come on. As Matt would say, it was
The hype.
marketing 101.
yeah, it's the hype.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Hype gets you
cool
every
little
time.
watch. There was like we went in there and they had one left. I asked the lady, she said yes. And then as soon as I went in there, another guy and then another person went in there and they were asking for the same watch. And she's like, yeah, we
Should
have
have
them.
flipped it right there.
Actually, the guy was, so what, it's funny you say that because the guy goes to our Mayor's Jewelers, which is a Rolex dealer, AD. Then, okay, when I tell you this dude, he was a kid, goes in and asking for the Omega Snoopy watch, which it's like, bro, stop it.
Sure, that'll be 15 grand.
Yeah, just stop. I mean, I've been on that waiting list for,
Yeah.
I think, 3 years now. That one I will keep if I ever get the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also hearing now that a lot of the Rolex ADs are asking some of their clients, hey, well, bring in the watch that we last sold you. We want to see
I heard that as well.
you still have that.
Yep.
So
Interesting.
it's funny that they're saying that. I think that in the next 1 to 2 years, especially if this economy keeps on like it is, I think they're going to be hurting for people to buy their watches.
Well, people are buying.
Hey, payback's
Crown
a
and Caliber.
bitch.
Crown and
Still.
Caliber right now is stacked. Like I said, they are stacked
Yeah,
with
they are
watches.
stacked.
Payback's
Yep.
a bitch.
And I'm seeing
right?
so many of these guys that are flipping watches. They have 1 million subscribers or whatever. They're unloading all of their data adjust, all of the inexpensive $3,000, $4,000 watches, unloading them now because they know what's coming.
Well, I think we're going to get a guest on who does that for a living.
Cool.
Okay.
And we can find out some more information as far as what the market is really like and what we should be buying and what we should be avoiding.
Yeah.
So we should start coming up with some questions. And I think that'll come up in the next couple of weeks.
Cool. That'd be good stuff.
Based on our schedules and his schedule. But I would be really curious to find out the market right now.
Yeah.
In 2024 and what we can get, what we can't get, what's plummeting, what's coming up, what's some real
Well, I
value.
definitely know the Rolex market, secondary market, is definitely taking a loss because I sold my GMT.
Not
the
the
one
Seiko market, baby.
that
No.
one is not. That one is going up, unfortunately, for all 4 of us.
Yeah.
But the GMT that I bought, I think I paid $12,000, and I sold it for
I think you said
15.
15. Yeah, 15.
Right,
sold it.
and
Yeah.
he sold it, or he put it on market for 17, and I think it's still sitting there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm never selling my Speedmaster. I love it. It was a anniversary
I
gift
get
and all
you.
that. But
I'm there.
But I went through and just for shits and giggles, I went on Crown and Caliber just to see what they would pay me for it, because you can put in there, and they came back and said, "Listen, try back later. We're not going to give you an offer because we have too many of these." Yeah,
And I am selling my Omega. So if anybody wants an Omega, I have a pretty rare one.
And you have a white one too.
Yes, and I have both faces. Yeah, Speedmaster.
I know. Trust me, if I had the money,
Cool.
I'd buy it, man. I'd buy it to match my black one, but
you do have the money for an Omega.
I do have. Well, and when we're done, just text me your Zelle or PayPal or whatever you got, and I'll send you the cash.
All right.
And what I'm paying for
cash.
what I'm paying for said watch.
Matt will actually send you $8 in the mail, cash.
Yep.
Well, we know
money
that
order.
we know that UPS works really fast between you and I, because you freaking sent my
no
shirts
kidding.
and I got them.
Hey, speaking of,
yeah.
I got my delivery today as well.
Did you really?
So I did.
Yeah.
So one day later, it made it to South Carolina.
Yeah, I texted James last night. I'm like, "Hey man, I got your shirt. Thank you very much." He goes, "How'd you get it so fast?" I said, "We and Kevin are both in Florida. You freaking next day."
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Well, sorry you couldn't make it. But
listen, I am too. I wish I could have been there. We're going to talk about what we're talking about on the next episode. But yeah,
on that
I
note,
wish I could have been there
let's
too.
wrap it, Matt.
Hey, we're done, man. 59 minutes and 36 seconds. Guys, you know the deal. Thank you for listening. Go over to Instagram or even just go to whiskeywatchesandwheels.com. All of our information is right there. And, send us a contact or, email, whatever you want to hear about. And we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.